Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you are destined to become. You don't need more motivation. You need more structure. You don't need more prayer. You need more alignment. And I'm here to tell you today, if you can master discipline, you can make success chase you down. Most people don't fail because of a lack of vision. They fail because they don't have the discipline to protect that vision. Discipline is the womb of destiny. If you don't nurture your dream with consistent action, it will die a silent death. Discipline is proof you believe in your future. If you truly believe in your future, you will begin to behave like it. Discipline is not a random decision. It is evidence. It is the receipt that proves you're expecting something ahead. People say they want to be successful. They talk about wealth, impact, health, spiritual growth, but their habits betray them. Your actions are a louder sermon than your prayers. Your routine is the proof of your revelation. You can't say you believe in your future while consistently disrespecting your present. You can always tell who believes in their vision by how they manage their time. A person who believes their time is valuable does not waste it. They guard their calendar like royalty guards a crown. They are not careless with their days because they know their future is too valuable to leave to chance. If you truly believe you're destined for something greater, you'll train for it like an athlete before a championship. Because belief without behavior is self-deception. Let's make it plain. You can't say you're building a business empire and spend 5 hours a day scrolling on social media. You can't say you're preparing for global impact and not read, study, or grow daily. That's not belief. That's wishful thinking with no discipline. Real belief puts on boots and goes to work. It doesn't just sit and dream. It shows up even when nobody is watching. Discipline is like showing up to the gym for a race you've not yet been invited to, but you know you're going to run. It's preparing the speech before you've been handed the mic. It's practicing leadership before you're ever given a title. People who wait until the opportunity shows up to begin preparing are already behind. Discipline says, I will act like it's mine even if it's not in my hand yet. Belief is invisible. Discipline makes it visible. Let me tell you something about construction sites. Have you ever seen a huge skyscraper being built? Before you ever see the building rise into the sky, workers spend months, sometimes years, digging underground. They're working on the foundation. There's nothing glamorous about dirt and concrete, but the height of the building depends on the depth of the foundation. Discipline is the underground work. It's the invisible effort behind visible greatness. Discipline means waking up early to write when no one will read it yet. It means training your voice in the mirror when no stage is available. It means practicing kindness when nobody appreciates it. It means showing up on time even when you're not being noticed. Because people who believe in their future behave as though it's already been assigned to them. When you start making disciplined decisions, something changes in your spirit. You no longer need applause to keep going. You no longer wait for motivation to move. You're not led by moods, you're led by mission. That's the difference between people who hope and people who build. When you discipline your diet, you're telling your body, I have a future to protect. When you discipline your spending, you're telling your wallet, I have a future to fund. When you discipline your focus, you're telling your mind, I refuse to be average. You become a master of today because you know you're responsible for tomorrow. And make no mistake, discipline is not easy. It is a battle, but it is the kind of battle that pays you back. Every time you deny your flesh and feed your purpose, you are investing in your future. Think about a student burning the midnight oil while others are partying. Think about the entrepreneur turning down weekends so they can build something lasting. Think about the athlete training when nobody else is watching. That's belief with legs. That's faith with muscle. Discipline is not glamorous. It's not posted on social media. It doesn't come with claps and cheers. It's not sexy. But it is powerful. Because when you look up months or years later, you'll have what others only dreamed of. Not because you were lucky, not because you were chosen, but because you were faithful. You can't microwave purpose. You can't shortcut greatness. You can't scroll your way into success. You have to show up, lock in, and do the work. And that's what discipline is. It is showing the universe, the world, your future, and even your enemies that you are not playing. You are invested. You are committed. You are not hoping. It's already yours, and your actions prove it. The reason why many never step into their calling is because their habits are not loyal to their dreams. Your habits are hired hands. They either build or break. If your daily life is full of distractions, compromises, and convenience, then your dream is being starved. But if your day is structured, intentional, and purpose-driven, then your destiny is being fed. Discipline is not for the weak, it is for the wise. It is not just about saying no to temptation. It's about saying yes to what matters more. Every time you say no to comfort, you say yes to calling. Every time you say no to delay, you say yes to destiny. Every disciplined decision is a prophecy in motion. You are not just building habits, you are building history. You don't need a sign from heaven when you've got structure on earth. Structure brings strategy. Strategy brings sustainability. And sustainability brings success. The people who make impact are not the loudest, they're the most consistent. They're the ones who train in silence and let results speak. They don't chase opportunities, they prepare for them. They don't talk about being ready, they live like they already are. Discipline is the highest form of self-respect. It says, I will not sabotage what I've been assigned to build. It is honor in action. It is vision in motion. And it is the greatest proof that you not only believe in your future, but you're already walking in it. Feelings are not leaders. Principles are. Feelings are not leaders. Principles are. One of the most dangerous decisions you can make in life is to follow your feelings. Because feelings change. They fluctuate like the weather. One moment you're inspired, the next moment you're discouraged. One moment you're ready to take on the world, the next you're buried under self-doubt. If your life is led by emotions, you will be a slave to your circumstances. But when you are led by principles, you rise above your circumstances. You cannot build a consistent life on inconsistent emotions. Imagine a pilot flying a plane based on how he feels that day. One morning he feels confident, so he takes off. But midway through the flight, he feels nervous and shuts off the engine. That plane will crash. That's exactly what many people are doing with their lives. They start strong, but the moment emotions shift, fear, doubt, laziness, confusion, they shut everything down. And then they wonder why their dreams never lift off. Your feelings are not designed to lead you. They are meant to signal you. They are like warning lights on a dashboard. They give you information, but they are not the steering wheel. The moment you hand the wheel of your life to emotion, you're heading for a crash. A principled person says, I will do what is right even when I don't feel like it. That's strength. That's leadership. That's how legacies are built. Let's talk about the gym. Everyone is motivated on January 1st. New year, new goals, new hope. But by February, the emotion is gone. That's when you see who is real. The people who keep showing up are not the ones with the strongest feelings. They're the ones with the strongest principles. Discipline kicks in where motivation fades. The ones who get results are the ones who can look in the mirror and say, I don't feel like it, but I'm doing it anyway. That mindset builds champions. Think about relationships. You can't raise a strong family, build a lasting marriage, or develop deep friendships by following your emotions. If you only love people when you feel like it, you're not loving, you're reacting. Love is a principle, not a feeling. Integrity is a principle, not a mood. Excellence is a principle, not a preference. People who do great things don't always feel great. They've just made a decision that principles will lead and feelings will follow. You must train your mind to obey your values, not your moods. Because emotions will try to talk you out of what you're called to do. They will convince you that later is better. You're not ready. You're too tired. Or it doesn't matter today. But your principles, the values you've decided in moments of clarity, those are the anchors. Those are the guides that keep you from drifting into mediocrity. Let me tell you this if you want to break cycles in your life. Cycles of delay, inconsistency, and self-sabotage. You must stop asking how you feel and start asking what you value. Every time you make a decision based on your values rather than your emotions, you gain strength. You rewire your mind. You shift from being reactive to being intentional. Think about athletes at the elite level. They don't ask themselves each morning if they feel like training. Their training is non-negotiable. Their food, sleep, recovery, it's all structured. Because they know their emotions don't determine the medal. Their habits do. If they went with their feelings, they would never finish a race. That's why they win. Because they have trained their feelings to serve their purpose, not sabotage it. This principle doesn't only apply to sports. It applies to business, education, health, creativity, faith, every domain of life. Feelings may give you the spark, But principles keep the fire burning. If you only work when you feel inspired, you'll be unemployed. If you only write when you feel creative, you'll never finish your book. If you only pray when you feel spiritual, you'll stay shallow. But if you develop a routine, a non-negotiable structure that's led by values, you will go far. And here's the truth, your feelings will eventually catch up with your actions. That's the beauty of it. You may not feel like running, but if you run long enough, you'll start feeling stronger. You may not feel like studying, but after a few weeks, you'll start feeling smarter. You may not feel like showing up early, but over time, it becomes your new normal. Emotions are slow learners, but they do learn if you train them with principles. Don't fall for the myth that says, follow your heart. The heart can be deceived. Instead, follow your values, follow wisdom, follow discipline. Let your values set the pace, and let your feelings adjust to that rhythm. A soldier doesn't ask if he feels like following the command. A builder doesn't ask if he feels like laying bricks today. Purposeful people don't negotiate with feelings, they align them. Let me give you a daily life example. You wake up and your alarm goes off at 500 a.m. Every part of your body screams, go back to bed. But your principle says, winners rise early. In that moment, you have two voice, emotion and excellence. Emotion says, just today, skip it. Excellence says, this is how you separate yourself. If you hit snooze, you just voted for comfort. But if you rise even tired, you voted for greatness. That's how leaders are built, one vote at a time. You cannot build greatness on how you feel. You build it on what you believe. You build it on what you know to be true, even when your mood says otherwise. The world does not reward emotional activity. It rewards consistent discipline. The ones who finish strong are not always the ones who felt the strongest. They're the ones who acted on principle, even in weakness. Routine reveals royalty. The crown isn't worn on the head. It's first forged in the habits. You don't rise to greatness by accident, you rise by assignment. And that assignment is managed through routine. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary isn't talent. It's what you do every single day when no one is watching. Success doesn't respond to desire, it responds to discipline. You can pray, fast, cry, and scream, but until your day is aligned with your destiny, your results will remain random. People who operate like royalty don't wait for a crisis to move. They move daily with clarity. The world sees their success and calls it favor, but behind the curtain is a routine that few would dare to follow. They don't wait until they're inspired to act. They don't hope to feel like showing up. They have locked into a rhythm that commands results. Their excellence is predictable. Why? Because it was rehearsed in silence long before it echoed in public. Let me ask you, what does your day say about your destiny? What does your schedule say about your standards? Most people are hoping for a breakthrough, but their routine is built for breakdown. You can't wish your way into royalty. You must work your way into it. And that work starts with structure, not glamorous work, not viral work, not celebrated work, but daily, intentional, boring, sacrificial work. The type of work that kings and queens of impact commit to long before the crowd ever chants their name. Have you ever seen a professional pianist perform? They glide across the keys with what looks like effortless elegance. But what you don't see are the years they spent practicing scales when everyone else was outside playing. You don't see the early mornings, the sore fingers, the repetition. That's what royalty looks like in secret. Repetition, precision, consistency. That's routine. And that's where power is formed. Routine is the architect of character. It's the quiet coach in your corner reminding you that your dream is too expensive to live undisciplined. Routine tells your goals, I'm not just interested in you, I'm committed to you. It tells your potential, you're safe here because I will protect you with structure. You can't expect your mind to operate at peak performance if your days are consumed with clutter and confusion. Royalty doesn't live in chaos, it rules with order. Think of the military. Soldiers don't begin their day by guessing what to do. They operate on orders. Time is accounted for. Uniforms are prepared, missions are clear. That's not oppression, it's discipline. Because in battle, there's no room for maybe. Their lives depend on routine. Likewise, in the war between you and average, your future depends on your daily choices. If your vision is truly royalty, then your habits must reflect that throne. I want you to reflect on your morning. How do you start your day? Do you wake up and scroll through your phone for 30 minutes, feeding your mind with noise? Or do you rise with purpose, with stillness, with strategy? Royalty doesn't start its day reacting to the world. It commands the atmosphere. A person of impact doesn't let the world decide their mood. They decide their pace, their focus, and their intention before the world has a chance to intrude. Look at a lion in the wild. A lion doesn't chase every noise in the jungle. It walks with quiet dominance and knows who it is. That's the energy of a person with routine. They don't waste time chasing distractions. They don't rush to respond to everything. Their power is in their poise. Their strength is in their schedule. They understand that their time is a throne, and only what aligns with their kingdom gets access to it. Routine doesn't mean monotony. It means mastery. Don't confuse repetition with boredom. The truth is, mastery only comes through repetition. A boxer throws the same punch 1,000 times so that in the ring, it becomes second nature. A writer pens hundreds of pages that no one sees before one page changes lives. A leader reads every day, not because it feels magical, but because they know wisdom is gathered one word at a time. You don't become exceptional by doing something once. You become exceptional by doing it until it becomes who you are. There's a story of a young man who asked a wealthy mentor, "What's the secret to your success?" The mentor smiled and replied, "I wake up at the same time every day. I read daily, I move my body, I review my goals, and I don't let anything steal my time." The young man laughed. "That's it." The mentor looked him dead in the eye and said, "That's everything." The difference between a scattered life and a successful one is not how much you want it. It's how much of your life you're willing to organize around it. You can't build a throne on shaky ground. You can't rule your life if your life is ruling you. Routine isn't restriction, it's revelation. It reveals who you are becoming. Every morning you hit snooze instead of rising. Every evening you waste in mindless entertainment. Every goal you push to next week, you're not just wasting time, you're training your identity. You're telling yourself, this level is enough for me. But when you rise with purpose, when you build a sacred routine around your dream, you are declaring, I am not common. I am called. Royalty is not a title, it's a rhythm. It is not about crowns, capes, or applause. It is about consistency, clarity, and commitment. It is waking up with the knowledge that you were not born to blend in, and therefore you cannot live like everyone else. It is understanding that destiny doesn't respond to the urgent. It responds to the intentional. It is realizing that your power is not in what you occasionally do, but in what you always do. Discipline is a silent builder. Results are the loudspeaker, results are the loudspeaker. You don't need to announce your greatness when your results echo through the world. The loudest people in the room are often the ones with the least fruit, but the ones building in silence, those who grind without applause, those who sacrifice without needing validation, those are the ones whose results speak so loudly that the world can't ignore them. You see, discipline doesn't look exciting in the beginning. It's not glamorous. It's not viral. It's not dripping with admiration. But discipline is doing what needs to be done long after the emotion that birthed the idea has faded. The truth is, most people are obsessed with exposure. They want to be seen. They want to go viral. They want applause. But discipline doesn't work in the spotlight. It works in the shadows. Discipline is forged in quiet rooms, in early mornings when the world is asleep, in late nights when your body screams for rest but your vision says, keep going. It's forged in lonely seasons where your only friend is consistency. And while others are out chasing recognition, the disciplined are focused on preparation because they understand something most don't. When results come, they shout louder than any self-promotion ever could. Have you ever seen a bamboo tree grow? In the first 4 years, nothing happens above ground. But during that time, the root system is expanding. The tree is establishing a deep and unshakable foundation. Then suddenly, boom, it shoots up 90 feet in 6 weeks. People call it a miracle. But it's not a miracle. It's discipline. Quiet, unseen, uncelebrated growth beneath the surface. That's how destiny works. People will see your rise and call it overnight success, but they weren't there when you were planting in silence. They didn't see the hours. They didn't feel the tears. But discipline doesn't need witnesses to be valid. It just needs vision. Your results are your receipts. You don't have to argue with people when your life shows what your words cannot. You don't have to convince anyone when your habits have already built the evidence. The problem is people want results with no repetition. They want elevation with no foundation. But success doesn't respond to passion alone. It responds to patterns. You can't fake discipline. It's either in your daily system or it's not. And if it's not, you will never see the harvest you dream of. Think about the student who stays up late studying while everyone else is out partying. No cameras, no cheers, just books, notes, and focus. That student is quietly investing in a future others won't have access to. Fast forward a few years, they're the one giving TED Talks, building empires, leading teams. And people say, wow, they're lucky. No, they were disciplined. The result is loud, but the preparation was silent. The glory is public, but the grind was private. That's the formula most ignore. Your discipline today is the architect of your legacy tomorrow. Every time you show up to the gym, even when no one's watching, you're building. Every time you sit at your desk and write one more chapter, design one more product, make one more call, you're building. Even if nobody claps. Even if nobody likes, shares, or reposts. You are building something that cannot be denied when it's done. And when it's time to reveal what you've been working on, it will be too powerful to ignore. Discipline means choosing progress over popularity. It's saying no to comfort so you can say yes to calling. It's making decisions based on purpose, not preference. People who wait until they feel like it are always outrun by those who act because they're aligned with a vision. You don't need to feel powerful to move. You need to move to become powerful. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It respects what you decide. And every time you keep your word to yourself, even in the absence of applause, you multiply your strength. Take a musician who practices 3 hours a day for years, mastering their instrument. No audience, just repetition, one note after another, day after day. Then one day they walk onto a stage and the music flows like magic. People cry, they stand, they applaud. But the magic they witnessed was built in the repetition no one saw. The performance is the result. The discipline was the builder. So many people are stuck in a cycle of frustration because they want people to believe in their potential without ever producing proof. Discipline produces that proof. You don't have to convince anyone when your fruit is visible. Results silence doubters. You can talk all day about what you're going to do, but if your life doesn't match your language, your words are empty. The most powerful response to criticism is excellence. The most effective clap back to hate is execution. Let your results speak for you. And don't get it twisted. Discipline isn't just about hard work. It's about focused, intentional work. You can be busy and still be unproductive. Discipline organizes your efforts. It structures your energy. It channels your strength toward the things that move the needle. That's why disciplined people are so effective. They're not doing more. They're doing what matters more consistently. There will be seasons where you feel invisible, like nobody sees your efforts, like your seed is going unnoticed. But every seed grows in the dark before it reaches the light. The process always precedes the platform. The silence is not a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're forming. Because discipline always produces a sound eventually. And when it speaks, it won't whisper. It will roar. Sacrifice now or suffer later. That's not just a quote. It's a law of life. Every decision you make is a vote for your future or a betrayal of it. You either pay the price through discipline today or pay the cost of regret tomorrow. And regret always demands more interest than sacrifice ever will. The pain you feel from self-control is temporary, but the pain of missed opportunities can haunt you for a lifetime. The truth is, no one escapes the pain. It's just a matter of which one you choose. Either you suffer the pain of sacrifice now or the pain of settling later. Look around at the people who are winning in life, not just in money, but in health, peace, growth, clarity, and impact. They're not there because they had better luck. They're there because they made hard decisions that others were unwilling to make. They turned off the TV when everyone else was binge watching. They worked the extra hour when others were sleeping. They studied the book instead of scrolling endlessly through their phones. They delayed gratification. They gave up comfort to buy into their calling. While others were choosing ease, they were choosing elevation. A student once said, "I don't have time to study. I've got too much going on." And I told him, "You'll have time to suffer the consequences later if you don't make the time to sacrifice now." That's the truth we don't want to hear. We want the reward without the effort. We want results without the process. But there's no shortcut to excellence. There's no discount for destiny. You either give up what you want now for what you want most, or you live with the ache of knowing you had the chance, but lacked the commitment. Every champion you admire had to walk away from something they wanted to hold on to something greater. Michael Jordan didn't become the greatest by chance. He trained harder, practiced longer, and competed fiercely even when no one was looking. Serena Williams didn't dominate tennis because she had better genes, she had better discipline. She gave up parties for practice, comfort for coaching, relaxation for repetition. Sacrifice was the soil that birthed her greatness. And that same soil is available to you, but you have to be willing to plant in it. Let's make it practical. You say you want financial freedom. That requires sacrifice now. That means cutting out impulse buys, skipping the daily luxury coffee, saying no to that extra subscription, staying home instead of going out just to post stories for likes. But most people don't want that. They want to enjoy now and worry later. But later always comes. And when it does, it demands repayment. Not just in dollars, but in stress, in anxiety, in missed dreams. Sacrifice is cheaper than struggle, but people choose struggle because it's delayed. Sacrifice is upfront. It demands something from you immediately. But it pays dividends. You want a powerful relationship, a meaningful marriage. That takes sacrifice. It means putting your ego on the altar, giving your time, your heart, your service, even when you don't feel like it. It means resisting temporary attractions to preserve eternal connection. But if you don't make those sacrifices now, you'll suffer later in broken trust, emotional distance, or separation. You either pay now with humility or pay later with heartbreak. Discipline without sacrifice is just empty routine. But when you anchor your discipline with vision, every sacrifice starts to make sense. You start saying things like, I don't do that anymore, not because I can't, but because I've seen where I'm going. You begin to live with a kind of fire, a kind of sacred self-denial that tells the world, this calling is not a game to me. You can't scroll your way into purpose. You can't lazily drift into legacy. You must choose daily to give up what doesn't build you in order to become who you were born to be. I know it hurts. I know sacrifice feels like you're bleeding without applause. I know it feels like you're missing out while others are living it up. But listen to me. When you sacrifice for something greater, you are not losing. You are investing. While others are partying with pennies, you are purchasing your purpose in full. And when the results come, when the table is finally prepared, when the doors begin to open, you won't need to explain yourself. People will look and say, how did you get here? And you'll be able to say, I sacrificed for this. Let me ask you something that will shake you. What is your dream worth? Because until it's worth more than your distractions, more than your momentary pleasures, more than your comfort, you'll never touch it. Dreams that matter require decisions that cut. You don't drift into destiny. You decide into it. And the key that unlocks it is sacrifice. Your future is waiting, but it's not waiting passively. It's asking, what are you willing to give up to meet me? Are you willing to wake up earlier? Stay up later. Turn off the noise. Let go of the crowd. Refuse the temptation. Are you willing to do what most people won't so you can live how most people can't? The problem is, many people want front row results with backstage discipline. They want a platform, but they don't want to carry the weight. But the platform is not given, it's earned. And sacrifice is the currency. You pay with sleep, with sweat, with focus, with repetition. You sacrifice the short term for the long term. You choose calling over convenience, purpose over popularity, greatness over gratification. When you sacrifice, you are not shrinking, you are sharpening, you are not losing, you are learning. Every sacrifice trains your mind to stop worshiping comfort and start pursuing calling. Every time you say no to what is easy and yes to what is essential, you are proving to your future that you're serious, that you won't trade it for a temporary thrill, that you are not another person who just talks. You are one who trades. You trade now for later. You trade lesser for greater. You trade comfort for the crown. Master yourself, and you'll master your world. Master yourself, and you'll master your world. That truth right there is not just a phrase. It's a revelation. Every great battle you will ever fight in life starts on the inside. Before you conquer a business, a platform, a vision, a territory, you must first conquer your appetite, your impulses, your emotions, your thoughts, your tongue, your habits, and your reactions. The person who has no control over themselves will never have authority in the world. You cannot demand order around you while chaos reigns within you. The mirror is your first battlefield. Win there. And the rest of life becomes a reflection of that victory. People are constantly trying to change their environment, rearrange their friends, move to new cities, or switch jobs, thinking that a new surrounding will give them a new life. But the truth is, if you don't change the internal patterns, you'll recreate the same problems in every new space. If you bring a distracted mind to a new opportunity, that opportunity will collapse. If you bring undisciplined habits into a fresh relationship, that relationship will eventually mirror the last one. Why? Because your life rises or falls based on your personal mastery. There's a reason why kings had to be trained in the art of restraint before they were ever given a throne. Because real power without self-mastery is dangerous. Leadership without self-control is toxic. Influence without identity is poison. And freedom without boundaries is destruction. Self-mastery is not about denying yourself pleasure. It's about aligning yourself with purpose. It's the ability to say, just because I can doesn't mean I should. It's the wisdom to delay gratification. It's the maturity to govern your own emotions without depending on others to manage your peace. Let me tell you, when you master yourself, you become a force. When you no longer need approval to feel secure, when you no longer need applause to feel worthy, when you no longer need everything to go your way to keep your fire burning, that's when you become unstoppable. Your strength is not in how loud you shout, it's in how well you remain still under pressure. It's in how you respond when life says no. It's in how you stay calm in a storm. Mastery isn't loud. It's controlled. It's composed. It's calculated. It's focused. Think of a lion walking through the savannah. It doesn't roar every few steps. It doesn't chase every sound. It doesn't overact to every movement. It walks with silent power. Why? Because it knows who it is. That's the essence of mastery. You're no longer tossed around by emotions or manipulated by circumstances. You decide how you show up every time. You respond with intelligence, not instinct. You rise above pettiness because your purpose is too large to live small. Let's bring this into daily life. You wake up in the morning and your body screams, hit the snooze. But mastery says, purpose rises early. You get to work and your coworker says something slick, trying to pull you into drama. But mastery says, you're not worth my crown. You're tempted to spend money on something foolish, but mastery says, my future is more valuable than this moment. That's self-leadership. That's when you know you've stopped playing with your potential. Most people are slaves in their own bodies. They live by cravings, moods, impulses, and urges. If they feel sad, they eat. If they feel angry, they yell. If they feel insecure, they gossip. If they feel bored, they scroll. There's no filter, no system, no gatekeeper. But when you train yourself to pause, to breathe, to observe before you react, you become dangerous. Why? Because you've removed the enemy's easiest weapon against you, your lack of control. A storm outside doesn't shake a house that's built strong on the inside. Likewise, you must build a life where peace isn't circumstantial, it's internal. Where joy isn't based on outcomes, it's rooted in discipline. Where progress isn't emotional, it's intentional. That happens when you become your own CEO. You manage your thoughts like a business plan. You evaluate your words before they leave your mouth. You redirect your emotions like an executive rerouting energy to the right department. That's what high-level people do. They don't let life just happen. They take authority within and let it manifest outwardly. Have you ever seen a master pianist? When they play, their fingers glide with ease. But what you don't see are the years of daily practice, of intentional training, of precise focus. They mastered the keys so well that the instrument became an extension of their being. That's the level you must reach in your own life. Where peace is no longer something you chase, it's something you carry. Where focus is no longer something you try to find, it's something you live from. Where your habits are no longer accidental, they are strategic. You want to build wealth, you have to master greed, laziness, and the impulse to spend what you haven't earned. You want to lead others, you have to master your ego, your fear of criticism, and your need for validation. You want to rise in influence. You have to master comparison, insecurity, and jealousy. Everything you want externally is waiting on who you become internally. You don't need better circumstances. You need a better system inside yourself. You can't build an empire with an emotional foundation. You can't lead nations with a reactive spirit. You can't change the world when you haven't changed your habits. Mastery begins the moment you stop blaming and start building, the moment you stop pointing fingers and start setting standards, the moment you stop asking for motivation and start applying discipline. Master yourself, and the world won't just listen to you, it will adjust to you. The more authority you carry within, the less chaos you accept around. Because everything outside bows to the one who has conquered what's inside. While the world is chasing noise, chasing clout, chasing shortcuts and applause, you will be chasing mastery. Because you now understand something most never will. When you discipline yourself, you don't need to chase results. Results chase you. You don't need to force doors open. Discipline makes them unlock on their own. The truth is, in this life, everyone wants to shine, but very few are willing to polish. Everyone wants the crown, but few are willing to carry the cross of consistency. Everyone wants a platform, but very few build a foundation. But listen, diamonds aren't formed by applause. They're formed in silence, under pressure, deep in darkness. And so are leaders. So are champions. So are those who carry destiny. Discipline is the refinery. It's the place where your greatness is sculpted in the shadows. So don't be afraid to be the one who doesn't fit in, the one who gets up while others sleep, the one who works while others scroll, the one who prepares while others party. The crown belongs to the committed. It always has. And if nobody sees your discipline, good. Let it be quiet. Let it be sacred. Because real discipline doesn't scream. It shows. It shows in your peace when others panic. It shows in your growth when others plateau. It shows in your results when others make excuses. The gym might be empty, but your strength will speak. The study room might be quiet, but your wisdom will echo. The sacrifices may go unseen, but the reward will be undeniable. As they say, don't worry if they don't clap for you. Just make sure they can't ignore you. You see, the moment you choose discipline, you are making a powerful declaration. I refuse to be average. I refuse to settle for mediocrity. I refuse to let my emotions lead my life. You're declaring that destiny matters more than distractions, that purpose matters more than pleasure, and that legacy matters more than likes. You are not here to live like everyone else. You were not born to blend in. You were born to break cycles, to shift atmospheres, to build something that outlives you. So, become obsessed with progress. Fall in love with consistency. Be addicted to bettering yourself. You might not be there yet, but every day you show up, you get closer. Every time you choose discipline over ease, you're building a life that commands respect. Every time you say no to the wrong thing, you're saying yes to your future. You are not waiting on opportunity. You are becoming the kind of person that opportunity cannot ignore. People will ask, how did you do it? And the answer will be simple. I stayed when others quit. I worked when others watched. I focused when others wandered. I disciplined myself until destiny had no choice but to show up. You won't need to explain your success. Your life will be the explanation. You won't need to convince anyone of your greatness. Your fruit will do the talking. Remember, champions are not made in the ring. They're just revealed there. Champions are made in the unseen hours, in the lonely mornings, in the quiet routines. They're made in the decisions nobody claps for, in the habits nobody notices, in the sacrifices nobody documents. It's not what you do once that changes your life. It's what you do daily. The man who conquers himself is greater than the one who conquers a city. So stand tall even when it's hard. Wake up early even when it's painful. Do the work even when no one's watching. And speak to your future with boldness. I will not bow to laziness. I will not negotiate with excuses. I will not settle for a version of me that is anything less than disciplined, focused, and unstoppable. Because in the end, it is not your feelings that will build your future. It is your discipline. Make this your mantra. I will not be denied. I will not be distracted. I will not be defeated. Because when discipline becomes your lifestyle, success is no longer an accident. It becomes your address. And once you get there, you won't just arrive. You'll dominate.